Randy's got a house on the water. Randy got a house on the hill. I got a place in the country with a tractor and a windmill. When the weekend comes around, it's a party. We call all the girls to pick up some beer. Meet you at Lake Travis. Gladly we'll have some. Let's watch the sunset disappear. I'm watching. Somebody's ex is always somebody new. Who's got your back? Who's gonna get the shove? That's how we do it in the loop of love.
All right. What's up, Loop of Love?
It's good to have a song written about you. The Loop of Love song by John Lockhart. What a story. This guy, great friend of mine, he unfortunately passed away about 3 months ago. He fought colon cancer so hard. Young man in his 50s, salt of the earth. But I love that guy. Miss him tremendously. The Loop of Love. He's the center of it.
Oh, man. I love that. I love that story. And for those of you guys that don't know, that song is about the man that we're going to be interviewing today, Mr. Randy Cohen. I call you Randy Love. So it's rare when someone writes a song about you and it becomes a real deal. I haven't had it happen yet. I'm waiting for the Darius Love, but it hasn't happened.
It's coming. It's coming. There's going to be a Big D song. I promise.
Oh, man. Well, guys, welcome to the Greatness Machine. I'm your host, Darius Mirshahzadeh. And boy, do we have a special guest for you. We have my main man, Randy Love, Randy Cohen. Welcome to the show. Woo!
Stand back, non-believers. Randalicious is in the house. Woo, woo!
Let's do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're going to get started. Guys, we're the Greatness Machine, and we're all about people that are living their passions to create greatness in the world. And my friend Randy, he's neither the short nor greatness nor passion. So we have a lot to chop it up with him today. But before we go there, I did want to touch on a couple of things. First of all, we're live. So start a watch party if you're on Facebook. Share this with friends. There's going to be a lot of learning going on here. Ask us questions. I got my team on standby. They'll be shooting questions our way. But without further ado, my main man, Randy. Now, Randy and I, we've known each other for a couple of years. We're in a MIT Gathering Titans group together. And it was one of those things where, like, you know, when heart meets heart, you know, when you get that connection, that love. I was like, which love song am I going to sing? And he's like, you're going to sing Loop of Love. So we did that as our song. But I do want to tell you guys a little about my friend Randy. Randy is a serial bootstrapping entrepreneur, philanthropist, CEO, and author. And I just said, and all around badass, just a complete and royal badass. He's got 2 books, The Secrets of Swagger and Ticket to the Limit. And he's got a bunch of businesses. So I'm just so proud to have you here, my friend.
Don't forget about the kids' book, Dee Dee and Daddy's Big Night Out. And Dee Dee stands for Darling Daughter. That's the most fun book ever. It's a wrap. So if you like Dr. Seuss, you'll love Dee Dee and Daddy's Big Night Out.
Man, I left out the most important book. My bad. How you doing, bro?
You know what? I'm doing great. I got to see you this weekend. I got to see Sapio. You know, when you get to hang out with 2 of your favorite knuckleberries on the planet and have giggles and grins over some fine wine and some fajitas and steak, it doesn't get any better on a Labor Day weekend.
Oh, man. Well, you left out fireworks.
Yeah, we had a couple boom booms too. That was great.
Man, I was like, are these legal? And you're like, I don't know.
It's all legal until you get caught, and then it's pretty easy to at least ask for forgiveness. You don't always get it, but you at least can ask.
Dude, it's pretty cool. All the kids, he had mortars. It was right over the water in Lake Travis. For those of you that don't know, my main man Randy here has got a beautiful house overlooking the lake, great property, dogs, you name it. It was just you're living life, man. Like I'm jealous.
Hey, thank you. You know what? You have goals in life. Whatever your dreams are, if you have that dream and you just keep on dreaming about it every day, it's going to happen, you know. And it took me a few years, but you know, by the time I was 50 plus, I'm in the loop of love where I want to be with the boat dock going fishing.
Yeah, baby. So yeah, let's back up on that. So, you know, you're a serial entrepreneur. Are you from Austin originally or no?
You know, originally from upper state New York, Poughkeepsie, and then Maryland, Columbia, Maryland, which was an amazing planned community to grow up in the 70s. And then I landed in San Antonio in 82. Dad worked for IBM and went to Churchill High School, and then finally Austin in about 83. And I just
stuck with it, fell in love with this city, ended up going to the University of Texas. And it's been a dream ever since.
So yeah, so you're a long-termer, man. You've been here like close to 40 years and just living it up. And dude, I can't even imagine what it would have been like to be at UT in the early 80s. That must have been quite the treat.
They were fighting good times. It's still good times in Austin, even though the city is totally blown up.
Yeah, it's well, so I'm a newcomer. I've only been here 3 years. So we're two Austinites. We're gonna do a little bit of Austin talk. Those of you guys that don't like, you could put your earmuffs on. But I'm new here. I've only been here about 3 years. But you've been here for a while, and you've been building businesses here, and you're very entrenched in the business community. By the way, every single time, I kid you not, every single time I mention your name to somebody, I'm like, oh, I got this friend, Randy Cohen, and everyone they're like, oh yeah, I know Randy. It's like you're one of those guys where people just know you. Even like, and this is not like an obvious thing where I know they know you. I'm like, oh, I was at my friend's house, Randy Cohen. He's like, Randy Cohen from blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah. Oh, I love Randy. So you're one of those guys, man, where you get around and people love you. But and so I just want to back up and so you graduated college, and how did you get into being an entrepreneur? Because I think that's a big part of who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from that old school. I think it's born in you. You're doing stuff as a kid, whether you're selling chocolate candy at school, whether you're selling lemonade on the street, parking cars, when, you're figuring out that you're not afraid to go up to someone and tug on their belt and say, hey, come buy my sea glass, come buy some lemonade, give me a shot to mow your yard, whatever it is. You got to be outgoing and you just show up, and if you're a shower upper, that's what I think the entrepreneurial spirit's really all about, on the basic level.
So when you've been, and it's funny when you're saying all those things, I'm like, oh, I did all those things.
Yeah, of course.
I'm like, I had a candy empire that I started with like a pound of chocolate that turned into like literally 3 duffel bags of 45 varieties. I got shut down by my principal, but I was the biggest dealer of candy in my elementary school. So how did you had the entrepreneurial spirit. Tell us about like your first big business or your first big win. Like how'd that happen?
I was literally selling tickets on the street, in college, making a little extra side money, getting up early to stand in line. Then I graduated from UT. I think it's really important that you work on someone else's dime and make your mistakes and learn from, other people that have made those mistakes before. And I worked for Wallace Computer Services when I graduated in '87, but I was still following my passion, selling tickets on the side, buying tickets for all the college football teams and NFL teams throughout the country, and meeting people at Burger Kings to drop off tickets and putting ads in the newspaper the old-fashioned way in the yellow pages, and still doing that on the side. And it was getting a little bit too big. And my employer knew I was still selling tickets, and he says, hey, you either need to cut that out and give me 100%, or, I've got to get rid of you, or you have to resign. And it was time, so I ended up resigning from Wallace and set up an office in downtown on the drag on Guadalupe. And, you went for it. And
Right.
That was back in, I think, about 89, 90. And, 90, where are we today? That was, nearly 30 years ago. And slowly but surely grew the company, and it was an amazing journey. We fought the fight against StubHub. We did it by what you said earlier, bootstrapping. And then sure enough, we were doing 150 million in revenues a year back in the day, competing against, StubHub. But it's tough to compete against companies that are doing $2 billion in sales when you're not capitalized that way. And, I never took a penny. So it was a great ride. TicketCity still doing well. But at the same time, with COVID, the dynamics have changed. There's not a lot of concerts going on, not a lot of sporting events. It's just starting up now. US Open is going on right now, but there's no fans. College football is starting, and they're allowing 25% of the people in there. So it's going to come back, but it's been challenging when you've had the same employees. My average employee has been with me 22 plus years.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden you're having to furlough them. That's tough, but you got to persevere, and you got to keep showing up and be on amazing shows like, the Darius podcast, Stand Back Non-Believers. And then you keep on showing up and following through. It's all good.
Yeah, man. So that's crazy. So you're in the ticket business for, gosh, close to your not close to your entire adult life, and built a business that was competing against the StubHubs of the world. Was there, like, did you ever consider, I don't know, ever taking money I got to assume that you were an acquisition target or anything like that. Was there ever like,
yeah, we looked at a lot of different things. It just wasn't right. There's something about being able to make your own decisions and do it your way instead of taking money and then having to deal with other folks. It's been such a great journey not taking any money. And for me, making some of the money we did over the years and then taking chances and investing it with other amazing entrepreneurs that you think are going to be successful. Deep Eddy Vodka was one that I put some money into, and
wow,
their Ruby Red came out and everybody loved it. And that company sold for $640 million. So I got a little tiny piece of that. So it's just nice to make money and keep on rolling the dice and see where you end up. And that's where I'm still doing a lot of my time investing in other entrepreneurs.
Yeah, no, you definitely. I want to dive into some of that in a second. So let me ask you a question. Like, the ticket business is that's an interesting business. I mean, you're in the entertainment business essentially, and that's and sounds like you're out there hustling, right? You got into it the old fashioned hardcore boots on the ground. Basically, I don't know if it's scalping is the right word, but slinging tickets, right?
And it was scalping in the early days. And, the Ticketmaster and primary sources were trying to say, these are scalpers, don't deal with them. And, now my reputation is out there. I'm the godfather of tickets. When you're in a business for 30 years and you're the one head sticking above the sea heads that stands out and willing to take chances. I have to explain this properly. There's two companies, in a sense, what TicketCity had. TicketCity had the brokerage side, which we speculated and we gambled on buying assets. And the assets were NFL season tickets, college football season tickets, concerts that we thought were undervalued. And if you can get better seats, you can charge a lot more money on those tickets. And then we had the marketplace. And that's what we competed against StubHub, where we were high in the rankings of the old search engine optimization. And we're playing in the pay-per-click, PPC world, trying to go up against StubHub, and they had deeper pockets. So it's really hard to do that. Google ends up making the money. We all know that game.
Right.
And, you don't have a lot of winners other than Google. And, even Amazon has their stuff today where people sell their products and have to pay a little extra to be high up on the search engine rankings with Amazon. So it was game on for 20 years, fighting the fight. We were well known. We were well respected. And, so right now, TicketCity's still out there. You can go to TicketCity.com and get all your ticket needs met, in our marketplace. But we are not fighting the fight directly against StubHub and Vivid Seats and other companies right now.
Let me ask you a question. And this is just something that I was thinking about. I'm like, man, dude, you must have gotten some insane tickets over your life.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been an amazing journey getting to see, Paul McCartney warm up for events, getting to see, on the sideline for Super Bowls, getting to see amazing artists before they, passed away. It's been a lot of fun. But, for the most part, like when you're in any business and you're doing this full time, you're not racing out to want to, I want to go fishing. I want to hang out on the dock with you, drinking a cold pop and hanging out, telling stories about life, liberty, and the pursuit of having our kids get out of the house.
Yeah. So I'll let you go after this one on TicketCity, but what's the number one event, like the most memorable event you've been to that involved a ticket from TicketCity? So
this is pretty cool. I'm going to go right into this story. We were the first broker ever out there to have our own bowl game. We had the TicketCity Bowl. So we literally had the first game, I think it was Texas Tech versus Northwestern. And it was at the old Cotton Bowl in Dallas. And then the second game was Penn State versus Houston. And Case Keenum was playing on Houston. And, it's pretty cool when you have your own bowl game and you're marching around the sidelines. And, this is the TicketCity Bowl. And Penn State fell into our laps and we got to have them in the bowl game. And that was when they had the tough year with the Joe Paterno thing going on. But I'm still getting to do the coin toss, and I'm going out to the 50-yard line to do the coin toss. And I'm thinking, these guys are towering over me to the left, Houston was, and and Case Keenum, and then to the right, the Penn State players were towering over me. And I'm thinking, I can't just do a coin toss. I'm Randy Cohen. I need to give these guys a motivational speech to get going and play well for me. So I looked at these boys and I said, gentlemen, victory loves preparation. And today you all have prepared yourselves to be victorious. And I looked at Penn State towering over me to the right here. And I said, fellas, will you play with the soul of a lion and give it everything you have? Can you do that for me, boys? And they shook their head like deer in headlights. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we will. And then I looked at Case Keenum and I'm like, Case, can you boys play with the heart of a cougar and just lay it on out there, everything you got? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we will. And I'm thinking, my kids don't listen to that good too. This is beautiful. Then I don't normally tell this part of the story, but then I wanted the Guinness Book World Record coin toss launch with the TicketCity, nice little, heads or tails thing that they had for us. And I launched that higher than any coin has ever been launched. It was not a great thing because it wafted and it landed, I kid you not, on a Penn State player's helmet, bounced about another 30 yards. The referee had to waddle over there, track that thing down. It was heads. That was the only thing Penn State won all day. Houston destroyed them. And after the game, I'm taking the big old TicketCity Bowl trophy out onto the field. And Case Keenum sees me and he locks eyes on me and all this team is behind me. And you know what he said to me, Darius?
What's that?
He said, heart of a cougar, baby, heart of a cougar.
Oh, I love it.
That was probably the top event I ever got to go to because it was mine. But let me tell you, going to the World Cup in Germany, going to the, these World Cup events where they're singing and the energy is there, and the World Cup in Brazil, which is the soccer capital of the world, and seeing the passion that these, fans have and, how crazy some of them are. It's just amazing. And then, going to the Houston World Series, against the playoffs against the Yankees. And then, the next round in the World Series, just amazing events. And it's been a very amazing journey for me and, my TicketCity team and my family. Oh,
man. I loved all those stories. Thank you for sharing them. I'm not a huge event person, but, a few years ago, I'll tell you, you want to hear a quick story?
Yeah, please. I love the Darius stories. Come on.
So 2009, April 2009, or no, March 2009, my buddy hits me up, is one of my best friends, and Newhall, you know who you are. And he goes, hey, my family has tickets to the Masters. And then his grandfather got this has been in his family for 50 years. Now, I'm not a golfer. So I don't really, I knew it was a golf event, but I didn't know much about it. And so he's like, do you want to go? And it was for 4 days, all 4 days. And I was like, I don't know, man, let me think about it. Right. So, which is, by the way, not the answer you ever give when someone asks you if you want to go to the Masters.
Sure.
So I go to my CEO forum and I'm like, hey, I got invited to this thing called the Masters. This shows you how illiterate I am with sports. I got invited to this thing called the Masters. And I don't know, what do you guys know about it? And one of my foremates, he throws huge events, right? He's a corporate events guy, came from Lucas Studios. John Force goes, are you out of your fucking mind, man? He's like, that's the most coveted ticket in sports. You have to go. So I was like, and even then, because I'm like not a golfer. So I'm like, dude, I want to go watch golf for 4 days. That seems boring. Dude, I went to that event and it was the coolest thing it was literally one of the coolest things I've ever been to in my whole life.
That's one of the main events TicketCity does. We have groups that go out there, wine them and dine them. I actually had a house for years. I think I sold it about 5 years ago, right on Azalea Drive, about, less than a quarter mile from, the front gates.
Wow.
And let me tell you something, that is an amazing ticket. At one point, tickets were going for 12 and 15,000 per day.
No,
when some of those days blew up, versus on supply and demand. There's some crazy master stories, for another day.
Yeah. They went to OT in mine, and it was so cool. And the thing about Masters, this is what I liked about it most, and we'll move on. But you can't this is back in 2009. You had to put your cell phones, literally turn them in before you go in. Yeah. There's no advertising anywhere. Everything there is $1. You want a
Yep.
beer? It's $1. You want a cheese? They have pimento cheese sandwiches.
And
$1.
don't forget the egg salad sandwiches. You got to
Oh,
get one
yeah.
of those bad boys.
Oh, everything's $1. Egg salad sandwich, $1. It's basically they're like, I don't need your fucking money.
Yeah, and you can't even get, if you're going to go shopping, you got to go shopping there to get your cool, threads and everything. And people go in there and buy tons of stuff and then try to throw it on the secondary market.
Yeah, it's and if you do anything to break the rules, they'll take your pass. And and let's say it's a generational pass, let's say, because that's how they have a limited number of tickets, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to get them from someone that originally got them, and like your family will lose the tickets that they've had in their family for 50 years.
Yeah, they're worried when we get them from our clients that we've been getting them from for years, and they are so worried about that. We make sure we get all the badges back, have to have literally one-on-one huddles with our clients so they know what to expect and what to do.
Yeah, I had no idea I was signing up for that, but it was literally so cool. I'm telling you, for those of you that, and I've never watched golf before or after, and I tell anybody, if you ever get the opportunity, don't tell your friend no. Go.
Best of tickets for the best of times at TicketCity, everybody. 1-800 sold out. Woo-hoo!
I love it. So now you've been man, you're like one of the most entrepreneurial guys that I know. So you built TicketCity, you were competing with the big boys, running a $150 million business, selling tickets to some of the best events around the world, but you've gotten into other businesses. Can you tell us about some of the other businesses you've gotten into?
Yeah, I want to do that, but I do want to say it's not just me though. All these companies, what I'm good at is putting together a really good team at the end of the day. Those guys do the heavy lifting. I'm a marketing guy, I'm a cheerleader. Even though I get the glory and the credit, you can't do it unless you're gonna, be Tom Brady, surrounding yourself with some, amazing, passionate cast of characters, and even a Michael Jordan. You need cast of characters around you.
I'm glad you said that. So really, what I think that comes down to, and it's an overused word, but that comes down to building a culture. And my belief, as you know, I got this bad boy coming out. But,
oh yeah, great book. I'm like halfway through it already. It's an amazing read. I'm not kidding. If you want story time, you just take your kid, read it to your kid instead of the kid's book. It's a good, fun book, everybody. Read that thing. The Core Value Equation.
Oh, Randy, I appreciate it, man. And so obviously it's all about, building a core value driven organization. That could be a family, it could be a nonprofit, but it could be for profit. So let me ask you, how have you used core values in your entrepreneurial life to be that cheerleader and to build the organizations that have been so special that people are going to stay there 20 plus years?
Yeah, our core values: have fun, make money, do the right thing long after the feeling of doing it leaves you. If it's okay for any of my employees to do something that they believe in, if it's going to be good for the customer and they don't mind reading about it in the paper the next day, by all means do it. I don't care what it takes. I don't care what it's going to cost. If you've heard somebody that has a story that all of a sudden their kid's in the hospital and you can help them put a smile on somebody's face, that's what it's really all about. The money's going to happen by doing the right thing long after the feeling of doing it leaves you. You also have to plan your work and work your plan. I'm a firm believer in core values, and I know you talk about that in Gathering of Titans, that everyone, we all have core values, and then, okay, everybody stand up, tell me your core values. Oh shoot, I can't remember them. Right. To be a true, what you say in the core value equation, a true expert in core values, and make sure your team knows them, you got to live and breathe them, and then hopefully even pass that on to what you say in the book. The customers, if they know your core values, you're going to win.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love that you've been reading my book. You just made my heart sing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good book. It really is.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
I don't know if it's as good as Ticket to Limit and Secrets of Swagger, but I'm going to put it up there because you're a unicorn, and if you believe you're a unicorn, you are a unicorn, baby.
Yeah, tell us about enough about my amazing book. Let's talk about your amazing book. So you've been building the businesses, running these great organizations, getting people motivated, and then you decided to write a couple books. Tell us about that.
When you do the same thing every day, it's great. You love what you do it well, so you keep on doing it. But at the same time, you need to do other stuff. If you love fishing, you're going to mix it up and go fishing. If you love throwing a football in your backyard with your kids, you're going to do that. I want to tell some stories, and I'll share one story. I haven't told this story in a long time. It was the Olympics back in 2000, I think, in Atlanta. And that was when the bomb went off. There's movies about that. There was a lot of craziness. It was the first really big local international event that we've had here in the United States in a long time, other than maybe the World Cup in like '96. And I'll never forget, I got a phone call. Well, we were set up there in downtown Atlanta at the Marriott, and a lady calls me up and says, "Do you all have any tickets to the opening ceremonies?" And I said, "Yeah, we have great seats to the opening ceremonies. How many do you need?" And she says, "Well, I just need one. But the thing is, I don't have a ride." And I'm thinking to myself, that's kind of weird. You don't have a ride. And I'm thinking, Randy, do the right thing long after the feeling of doing it leaves you. What's your core values? Make sure you take care of people, make their dreams come true. And I said, "Ma'am, it's your lucky day. I'm coming to get you."
No.
And I actually rented a car, one of the black kind of Continental cars, not a limousine, but, a nice little black car from the, airport. I drove an hour and a half outside of the city. I picked up this lady. She was a 75-year-old grandmother. And this was one of her bucket list things. And I picked her up and we headed back to, downtown Atlanta to the stadium. And I'm seeing her just almost cry. And she was so excited that she was going to get to do this. And I'm about to almost cry, thinking, Randy, way to go. Do the right thing for a change. Well done. And we went to this event. It was amazing. We saw Muhammad Ali light the cauldron. The U.S. hockey team, I think, was out there, from the '84 Olympics. It was just an amazing experience. And she had a wonderful time. I got her back, to her house late that night. We got to watch all the Olympians come on in all their colors and glory, and got her back home safe. And then I went back to the office the next day, and then all of a sudden word kind of trickles in. "Hey, did you hear what Cohen did? He blew off his plans and he took, a grandmother to the Olympic Open ceremonies." And you know what happens? They start doing stuff like that, going above and beyond to help make people's dreams come true. And that's the culture. That's the core values. That's what, you have to show as a leader. Right. And, when I wrote Ticket to the Limit, how passion and performance can transform your life and your business into an amazing adventure, I talk about stories like that. And that's how you grow a company. And people see that you're doing amazing things, and then they want to hear about it. So that's what caused me to just write Ticket to the Limit. And, I did that. And then a few years later, I'm like, all right, I like to rap and make up some stories. So then I'm like, well, let's write a Dr. Seuss kids book, kind of like. And, I basically told the story of how Dee Dee stands for darling daughter. My darling daughter and I ended up going to a Hannah Montana concert, and with some friends, I'll tell you this story. I had a birthday party at Buca de Pepe, and the old mayor of Austin was there. A bunch of friends were there, and the mayor stands up in front of everybody and says, "Randy, I need to make a speech." And I said, "All right, Mayor, go ahead." He goes, "Randy, I've only done this 2 times since I've been mayor. One time I gave one to the Dalai Lama, and the other time I gave one to Vicente Fox, the old president of Mexico. And here's the third. Here's the key to the city." And it's back here. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, no way,
There, he gave me a key to the city. It does not work anywhere, but I'm about to cry there too. I'm so excited. We do a lot of book of good stuff, and I got a key to the city of Austin with the Dalai Lama and Vicente Fox. And I'm thinking, that's so cool. And I'm like, I'm about to cry. And then he put his hands around me and he goes, "Though, one more thing, Randy. I do need a couple Hannah Montana tickets for my daughters."
Oh.
So there's always a catch, everybody. But at the same time, I ended up taking his daughters and my daughter in a limo, and we went to it was Hannah Montana back then, not Miley Cyrus. And it was loud and it was so fun. And I wrote a whole kids book about the adventure in a rap. So it's, a lot of fun. And then finally, I did the legendary Secrets of Swagger, how to own your cool in life and business. And that's what it's all about, doing the things that you not necessarily love to do, but that might help somebody else. If anybody can get a takeaway, they're going to get so many takeaways from your core value equation. If they get a couple takeaways from some of the books that you've written, that's what it's about, giving back.
Yeah, man, that's such a, I love all those stories. The key to, dude, that's so cool. You got a key to the city. Of course you got a key to the city, man. So sounds to, yeah, dude, you're ridiculous. So let me ask you a question. I mean, have you always been like this? Just had this joie de vivre? Is this just like part, I mean, it's, I got to imagine like this
Yeah.
didn't come without some effort.
You know, I live it. I'm a passionate guy. You know, I walk into the room sometimes and, you know, stand back, non-believers, Randy's in the house, you know, just having fun. It's a lot more fun where people see you lighting up a room instead of doom and gloom, you know? I mean, so yeah, that's just me. I've always been passionate. I've got so much energy radiating from inside of me to the outside. It's even a lot for me sometimes, but it's living what you love, and you got to be yourself and true to yourself. So that's me. And, you know, I've been very fortunate that TicketCity has allowed me to do some of the other things that we talked about,
Yeah.
you know, own restaurants. Now I own 2 restaurants in Austin, Texas, a legendary restaurant called Z Tejas. One is at the Arboretum and another is on 6th Street, and
Right.
2 in Phoenix, one in Scottsdale and another in Chandler. And we're hopefully going to be opening up another soon in Phoenix and North Scottsdale. I wasn't a restaurant guy. You know, I worked as bartenders and waiters as, you know, a young man in college, but, you know, I invested in some of them and they kept crashing and burning. And I'm like, I'll do it myself. I'll figure it out, just because it's a Mount Olympus, Mount Everest kind of challenge. I want to see if I can do it, and I'm going to get it done. I mean, we're going to win, but I'm good at marketing and surrounding myself with a great team. They do the heavy lifting, and, you know, I cheer.
So right now, obviously we got COVID here.
Yeah.
Like, what have you guys done in the restaurant business to keep thriving through all this? Because this is a tough environment for restaurants.
Yeah, you know, it really is. I mean, it's weird. It's like, you know, I beat myself on the head and bonk myself on the head sometimes. Why did I do this? But it's like, you know, I think of a part in the Lion King movie when Simba is looking into the water and he sees his dad in the water, and it's a reflection of himself. You know, apples don't grow far from trees. And then all of a sudden the monkey comes over there and just bonks him on the head. And he's like, ow, what did you need that for? And the monkey goes, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. So yeah, this COVID thing will be in the past, 100%. Yeah, it's challenging. What have I done? You know, I just did this cool mural that we spent a lot of money. I think we spent 10 grand on a mural. It's right in front of the 6th Street Z-Task, and has all the characters. It has Willie Nelson as Jesus. It is called The Last Supper. It has Ann Richards in there. It has an old character, Leslie, who used to ride around Austin, Texas, you know, in his Speedo on a bike, half naked. It has Stevie Ray Vaughan. It has Owen Wilson. It has Barbara Jordan. It has all these characters as the Last Supper people. And it's fun. You need to sell a lot of margaritas to pay for a 10 grand piece of artwork, but that's what it's about, having fun. If it's a core value for your team, and ZTAS is really living that right now. I have my CEO, actually, Robbie Nethercutt, working with an amazing coach out of Chicago, Jonathan Domsky, and he is doing the things to keep on learning and grow himself and make ZTAS the best that it can be. And we're going to win at the end. And, you know, this was something that I did because it was a 30-year-old iconic restaurant here in Austin that was about to go out of business. And I'm like, I can't have that happen. I'll figure this out. So you just show up, you cheerlead, you know, make music happen. You might catch me over there some days if we have some live music, and I'll take the microphone and make my own rap out, and just have fun. You know, the food's great. We've got the food better than ever right now. The presentation, the employees and wait staff are dancing, tiptoeing through the restaurant, having fun with the customers. But you got to do the things during COVID that make a difference. We are making sure customers wear a mask in there to their tables. You know, and some customers don't want to do that. Well, I'm sorry, you got to leave if you don't want to follow our directions for the good of the safety of the whole. Right. We're making sure that, you know, things are cleaner than ever. You're paying attention to some of the details right now that are going to make you survive when so many other companies are crashing and burning in the restaurant business.
Do you see this as an opportunity? Because I like obviously being in hotel business is probably or airline business is probably the two hardest businesses. And then I'd say the restaurant business or some parts are getting hit really, really hard. I think the places that are being smart are going to be the ones that come out way stronger on the other end. Do you, being an entrepreneur, see this as an opportunity to really go out there and maybe start really growing given this environment?
I do, 100%. And it's, yeah, they're all getting clobbered right now, and they're, you got to have thick skin. And, it's like, what does Warren Buffett say? When, there's blood in the water, then we dive into invest. And right now there's, a lot of blood in the water in the restaurant world. And we are literally putting money into a new one right now in North Scottsdale that I'm so excited about. Nice. And we'll hopefully open up around November or December, and we're going to do really well with this one.
Oh, that's so cool. I love Scottsdale. My brother lives out in Scottsdale. So
yeah.
So we got to go out there together and hang out once this COVID thing's done.
Let's go. LETSGO.
So let me ask you, like, I always think, I have a great therapist I work with, and he says, like our gifts and our traumas, they come through the DNA of our family generationally, right? Yeah. And so when I look at like your like I said, your zest, your joie de vivre, was there any role models you had in your life that this comes from, or does this really just come from within?
Sure. I love my dad. Dad passed away, about 4 or so years ago. He was an IBMer, but his passion was Disney. He walked into the house in Boca Raton, where he lived, or before that in Maryland and Texas, and there were Disney stuff everywhere from the 30s and 40s. We would actually go to the flea markets every weekend, Columbia, Maryland, looking for scores and amazing finds that were underpriced, and he would negotiate and buy the stuff. So, I love the fact that my dad was influential in my life, and wheeling and dealing in sales and stuff like that. And we actually had the first store before the Disney store. He had the very first Disney store out of the Columbia Mall, and we would set up all the stuff, and he was selling things in the mall back in the 70s before Disney stores even existed. Wow. And it was just fun to watch his passion doing that on the side while he worked for IBM. And when he retired, he kept that business going, which was a lot of fun. I also had, my first job, I think, was the Rocking Horse Ranch in Highland, New York. And, I was waiting tables and bringing out the trays of 16 plates. And it was the maitre d', and it was a guy by the name of Scott Cohen. And I was watching his pizzazz, how he talked to people, how he listened to people, and they loved him. And I came up with this, I think I talk about it in Ticket to the Limit, my Lair Model. And the secret of the Lair Model, and Lair stands for LAER, listen, acknowledge, explore, and respond. And I would literally sit down with every new employee, and I would be like, how do you listen? And they're like, you just listen. And I'm like, you listen by you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you got to listen twice as much as you talk. And the way that you listen is to actually acknowledge the A after the L, what they say. And that's just by repeating like a parrot, whatever they said. It gives you more time to think about it and actually hear in your head what they said. And then finally you explore, and you explore by asking questions. I'll give you an example. Let's say your wife says, Darius, I need you to take out the trash, but you're sitting there with your feet up watching the top 10 on ESPN, and you're enjoying it, and you kind of shake the cobwebs out, and you kind of, oh yeah, my wife just asked me a question. What? Take the trash out. And you acknowledge her, honey, you want me to take the trash out? And she says, yeah, I want you to take the trash out. So you say, okay, now you explore. Honey, you want me to take the trash out in the bathroom, in the kitchen, in the garage, in the bedroom? And what's she going to say, Darius?
What, you weren't listening to me?
Take out all the damn trash is what she's going to tell you. And then you go, okay, you're watching Sports Center. Honey, I will take out all the trash in 10 minutes right after the Sports Center top 10. And she's, that's your response at the end. That's the R. You listen, you acknowledge, and you explore, and then you respond. So you really got to be a good listener, and it's so hard to do. I don't think I've ever mastered that. I've mastered the not shutting up gift of the gab is what I've mastered.
Hey, you're a good company, man. But I did just listen to you. So listen, acknowledge.
E for Dora V.
Don't tell me. Don't listen, acknowledge. Something and respond. Damn it.
Explore. You got to explore by asking questions. You nailed. That's the Lair model, boys and girls. Use it. Don't lose it.
We got a question that came in from the audience. Let me grab that. Randy, or how would Randy say he keeps making the music happen, as he says?
You know, this is just an R-rated show, so I'm going to.
You're good. We're R.
Sometimes, you know, you show up every day. You show up with a smile on your face. You get up even if you don't want to. Oh, I got to go do this. Ugh. You know what? If you show up and your team sees you showing up, you know, you like we sang in the beginning of the show, you know, you come in bebopping, skipping, you know, woo, woo, let's go, LETS show. You do those things to get everybody kind of hipped up and hyped up. And look, I'm 100-mile-an-hour whirlwind, but I promise you, there's ups and downs in life. You are not up 24/7, even if, you know, if you're up more than most people. So take those downtimes as a learning experience and put on your hype song. I remember as a kid getting ready for the big tennis tournament, getting ready for something that was important. I would put on one of my hit songs, either Back on My Feet Again by the Babies, or I'd put on, by Man for Man, Earth Band. What am I thinking of? One of my favorite songs, Bruce Springsteen always sings it.
Blinded by the Light.
Blinded by the Light. Those two songs, I would just, they'd pump me up, get me out of my funk, and, you know, I'd start singing, and, you know, that may be a backflip to really jazz them up. There's one part.
Wait, you did a backflip? You would do a backflip?
You know, back in the day, I do it on the beach where it wouldn't hurt as much, you know, on an angle, but I'll never forget this. I was watching Billy Joel, and it was in a concert one time. He's on his piano, and he gets up and he stands on the piano, and he's turning around backwards, and he's like singing, "You had to be a big shot, did you?" And you're like, holy shit, Billy Joel's actually going to do a backflip right there. That's crazy. And you're waiting for him to do it. He's getting ready. And then he fakes you out by just kind of hopping off that piano a little bit, you know. But the bottom line is you through anticipation, you get them where they're expecting you to go right, and you end up going left, like that backflip Billy Joel was about to do, and he just hopped off. Oh, boo. You know, that's what you do. You get them to not think you're going to do what you're really going to do.
Oh, yeah. I call that a head fake.
Head fake. I like that.
Throw a head fake in there. Oh man. So yeah. So you're just looking to, you know, get people off balance, but in a fun way, and keep it interesting, right?
My title is the Chief Energizing Officer. I live it. I breathe it. And, you know, fortunately, after 30, you know, plus years of doing this stuff, I'm not having to, you know, work as hard doing it. It's just all right there.
So, you know, you've lived quite an eventful life so far, and it sounds like you got a lot more in front of you. What's you know, if you were to, you know, throw out there, what are the big things you're looking forward to in the next 10, 15 years?
Yeah, every penny I have is still all on the come line, if you know the term on the craps table, all out there on different investments that I have, whether it be Heat Genie or Verb. You know, Heat Genie is a company that a friend of mine has, and Walter Rabb, one of the, you know, founders of Whole Foods, is on the board, and you literally can press a button and the thing heats up to 160 degrees in like 60 seconds. Then all of a sudden you're drinking your hot coffee. So, you know, hopefully that one's going to be good. I'm just rolling the dice on Verb, which is a company that Tom Meredith is on the board, and, you know, Susie found this company, and they do training. I mean, I have a ton of investments like that all over the place. The restaurants are keeping me busy. You know, we're talking developments in real estate with Tesla and Apple coming to town. I've got acreage that we're trying to figure out how to develop. I'm basically just the monkey throwing darts out there, and, you know, a couple of them are going to hit, and I'm doing this myself instead of going to Vegas and putting it all on the craps table. I'm just doing it here local, and then I can give my 2 cents and help. And, you know, hopefully one day it's all going to pay off, and, you know, looking forward to that.
You're just playing the game, baby, playing the game.
Yeah. And being in groups like the Gathering of Titans, which you talk so much about in the book, visiting other leaders. I mean, I've been in that group for 17 years, and meeting with, you know, 70 other CEOs once a year for 4 or 5 days. You learn, you grow, and you got to keep on learning. You know, I had my ACEs meeting this morning, and that stands for Austin Council of Entrepreneurs. And it's the same, 12 guys that get together every month to talk about what's going on personally and professionally. And you can maybe learn from, mistakes that they've made so you don't make the same one. So, I'm not trying to do as many things as I used to free up my, my playing field. But at the same time, you got to keep on learning and growing and reading. Let me tell you, I didn't read for a while. I'm picking up it again right now, and reading books like yours and mine, Secrets of Swagger, and Untethered Soul was a really good book that I've read recently by Rick Singer. Those things help exercise your brain. You just can't, look buff like you and I. You'd have to, exercise the brain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the strongest muscle. Oh man. Well, normally I only sing one song during the show, but you got me motivated.
Yeah, baby. Woo woo.
I thought we could end on another song, and then if you don't mind staying on for a few minutes, I want to talk to you offline for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
You ready for the song?
Can't wait.
Do it. Let me turn up the volume.
Oh, baby, let's do this. Blinded by the light, back up like a douche and in the roller of the night.
The light woke up like a deuce and then I rolled it in the night. Blinded by the light, woke up like a deuce and then I rolled it in the night.
This is a great song. Come on, this is a great song. Everybody. Diplomat.
The boss and the monsters and the catalysts and pumps in the hat.
My shoulder feeling kind of old. Merry-go-round. Little early Burley came by in his curly whirly and asked if he needed a hand.
Oh man, I threw out that. Oh, dude, I was like, oh, we got to play some Blinded by the Light.
Yeah.
That's like,
don't forget, I'm telling you, this Loop of Love song by John Lockhart, I highly recommend you all listen to it. It's an amazing song about not just me, but Austin, Texas. And, what you said in the beginning, how so many people know me, all those people are in my Loop of Love. And it's really a kind of a cool deal.
Yeah, man, you got a big loop of love. That's for sure, man. You got a lot of love to give, and I'm glad to be in that loop of love. So, dude, we're wrapping it up here. I got the team. They'll put the comments in there for Loop of Love by you said Randy Lockhart.
It's John Lockhart, Loop of Love, and there's actually, this is kind of cool. I didn't share this with you, Darius. There's actually a Loop of Love Foundation that I started. It's a 501c3, and just became 501c3, and it's not just in John's honor, but it helps. Right now we're helping the artists that were starving during COVID and stuff like that. And everyone that did a remake of the Loop of Love song actually was given $1,000 check from the foundation just for redoing that song, having so much fun. But it basically helps the kids that, might've been like you or me. I was a C student going through school, but if you could get a kid to not be a class clown and go from a C to an A student and write a letter and an essay and compete against other kids, the one that won that actually got to hang out with the CEO for a day and got to go to, whether it was a Cowboys game or a Longhorns game. They would go with someone like me or some of the other CEO friends that I know. We did UT versus Kansas last year, and a bunch of kids from the Idea School got to go. It's helping out the teachers. It's helping out these kids through incentivization.
Yeah,
that's what incentivization is. What are they going to work hard on something they want to do? Because when I was a kid, I remember the coach said, whoever practices the hardest in soccer the next 2 weeks, I'm going to take to a Redskin game. Well, you know how hard I practiced? I had never been to a Redskin game, and I ended up getting to go to my first Redskin game. And that's what the Loop of Love Foundation is starting to do. And it's in honor of John Lockhart, who passed away, and just making a difference and giving back. We didn't talk enough about that there, but when you're successful, you got to give back and help others. Yeah. And that goes a long way.
Well, I love it, man. We'll make sure those are in the comments. You guys, where else can people find you? Let's just give them all.
Yeah. Randy at TicketCity.com. If you want to ask questions about the ticket world, Randy at TicketCity.com, R Cohen, Cohen, at ztejas.com. That's Z and TEJAS.com. Randy R Cohen at ztejas.com. Those are two great places to get a hold of me. And if we go into further detail, I'll get you my mobile number, and you're officially then in the loop of love.
Oh man, and trust me, you want to be in the loop of love. Guys, we'll make sure the books are in there. I love all those books. We'll make sure they're in there. So if anybody wants to connect with Randy, most people aren't given their direct email. So I appreciate you doing that. Randy's the man. He's a well-connected guy, super obviously experienced in so many different things. And it's really gracious of you to put it out there like that. So guys, reach out to Randy, buy his books, support the Loop of Love Foundation, do it all. And
loopoflove.org, everybody. I think it's loopoflove.org. If you want to go by, check that out.
Cool. We'll drop that in the comments. And my man, so grateful.
This was so much fun back at you. I'm telling you, this was fun. Who gets to sing before they do a podcast? And you are going to crush it on your book. You're going to have fun, and go see him when he's starting to travel around promoting the book. Order it now. I think when does it go officially on Amazon?
It's a week from today is when you can buy it.
So buy that thing. Let's get him to be a New York Times bestseller. All right. Don't forget, these books are still out there. You can email me and I'll send you one personally and sign it. Randy at TicketCity.com. Get you whatever you want. Charge you $15 on each book, and smack-a-lacka-luka-lacka. You're going to learn and grow.
Smack-a-lacka-luka-lacka. The famous last words. Guys, thank you so much, Randy. Everybody, support the show at The Real Darius M. Sign up with us on Facebook, www.therealdarius.com. That's where you can get all updates, sign up to our newsletter, and then The Real Darius on YouTube, where you follow us and subscribe to us so you can get updates on the show as well. With that said, my man, Randy, this was so fun. I love you, brother. Peace. We out here, guys. See you.
Look horns, everybody. Woo!